Just talk for me, mate. Hang on. We may have an audio issue for you. Talk for me again.
Hello. Testing 1 2 3. Testing
Right.
1 2 3.
Apologies for that, everyone. Now that David's not talking to nobody.
So
I think we may have had no David audio for the first 20 minutes, which is great. Well done.
Pro streamers.
God dear.
Pro
to be fair, ill health nearly stopped play. Now incompetence has just nearly stopped play. So
what's next? Because
I
usually bad
don't
things
know.
happen in threes.
Yeah, that's the truth. Oh.
Right. German Grey, where are you hiding? That's neutral. There she is, German Grey. Are you actually German Grey? I think you're German Grey. Fuck it, we'll soon find out.
Doesn't it have a label on it?
Because I haven't painted it in months, have I?
Oh, I see what you mean. You don't know what the colour is that you're actually trying to match to.
Mm-hmm.
I get you.
So we're going to go for a stealth.
I understand.
I've just fucking overwatered that, but there you go.
To be fair,
it's German Grey. It's German Grey.
An insight into exactly how my brain is functioning at the moment, as in, it isn't. So...
Is it German Grey, or because that seems extremely dark?
It will dry a lot lighter before you panic.
Well, I'm gonna panic, and I'm just gonna paint round this windowsill and hope for the best.
No, don't panic, Mr. Mandarin. That's not a decent brush. That's an ex-decent brush.
It's a basing brush.
Or
is it not? Or is it not quite reached basing brush status yet?
This is that god awful GW one, which.
Less said about that, the better.
Let's resurrect it from the dead, because we're only painting terrain. So let's give it a second wind. Fly,
this,
my beauty, fly.
This is the slight panic that I've just had, Paul. Look at that. Look at that on camera. Look how much darker that is compared to the fucking surrounding.
Okay, what am I looking at? The pin washing.
The window. No, the window.
Oh God! Right, yeah. Okay.
So I don't think it's German Grey.
Well, the grey you painted.
I think it might be neutral. Or it might. London's lighter than neutral, isn't it?
We've had this conversation before. It doesn't really.
Many a time.
It doesn't come into it. London is after neutral grey in the numbering sequence, but I think London's bluer. I wouldn't say it's necessarily lighter, but it's a different shade of grey.
No, it's not. It's not really. It's a bit colder.
Oh, God.
I think that's neutral. But
to be fair, I see what you were saying. I think it definitely would be one of the... I think German, you were over-egging it.
Yeah.
It was probably neutral or London.
Bollocks!
Why? What?
Because I've got to go back in and repaint over that in a minute. I don't know whether to get the air... Just pack it in. Don't know whether to get the airbrush out for speed. Or brush paint. Because I suppose if I brush paint, I'm not actually going to miss areas like I did when I fucking airbrushed. Oh! Right. Welcome to my head, people. Right. You can fuck off over there a minute. So I need to go rummaging in the not in the Vallejo, in the Citadel box, actually.
Cha-ching.
I think I base coated the roof with Deathclaw Brown. Yes, I did base coat the roof with Deathclaw Brown.
Well, the brown at least you've got down them.
Yeah, well, it's a Citadel colour, so we'll see how this goes. And it fucking however many coats it was. I think it was 3.
Via the old airbrush.
No, I brush painted the roof.
All right, makes sense. Do you know what I thought? I'm glad I didn't get too far into that building I started because I haven't logged anything.
Which building's that?
That Frostgrave one I started because I didn't do any colour logging or anything like that. And if painting the whole terrain set, it's going to be a nightmare. So
but to be
least...
fair, you'd only done the fucking one anyway, hadn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not too overly invested. I need to.
You're like me in that regard.
It's one of them things that need to be a bit more organised with big projects like that. Otherwise, I can easily get myself into trouble.
Right. Oh, that was a question I was going to say to you, actually.
Yeah.
Inside of that fucking roof. See that on camera?
Hang on, let me just finish painting this irritating dial with its irritating needle. God's sake. The thing is, these details, black against ivory, if they're scruffy, they just look terrible. Go on.
Inside of that roof.
What about it?
Do I bother painting it like a plaster colour, or do I just fucking leave it black?
Leave it dark. Paint it a dark brown or something. Or leave it dark grey.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it black,
it's in deep shadow, for God's sake, man. Don't draw attention to it. Ouch.
You know my painting style is draw attention to fucking anything that I can draw attention to.
Painting on psycho mode.
Yeah, we're going for... Okay, so the flat brush doesn't like the tiles. That's a given.
In what way?
It just... I'm having to use the brush sideways, because if I use it flat, it's just putting bubbles in my paint. But then probably that is because I've over-thinned my paint slightly. Because I just want to make sure...
Yeah, I was going to say it's a brush, not a whisk, so... I can't imagine that's to blame.
No, well, again, I'm going over tiles, the texture of the tiles, remember?
Mm. Well, it's just
Don't you start humming, you dick.
So it's just making the brush bounce. I remember why we relegated this GW brush to the pile of shit, because it looks great until you wet it, and then the bristles just do their own thing.
They just fuck off everywhere.
Yeah, just go in any fucking which way.
It's just what you want when you're painting details on terrain, mate, that is.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's perfect for job.
We're having a very terrain-focused evening.
Well, that's because of paint comp, isn't it? Painting competition is terrain...
No, it's something completely different.
Well, and
we've both interpreted that as terrain, yeah.
And we're doing...
However, I'm not even copying out with this piece of shit. I've got to seal some stuff and paint that over the weekend. I'm just doing this because I feel missing out on the hobby here.
Okay, good. Jeez. Woo! Calm down, dear. It's only a commercial.
Right. That That's that fucking roof done. I'm not doing any more on it. Fuck it! I've just done my fucking dilution part with washing my brush out.
It's alright, there's plenty of water in the tap.
Still Legion grab! And our survey says that yes, that was completely the wrong fucking shade of grey.
Now it's dried, it's even more obvious, is it?
Yep. Well, it's half dry. Come over here. Look at that shit. Look at that.
Yeah, that's not the same. Two of these things are not the same.
Actually, I wanted to have a word with you about something.
I know.
Not. Do I pick out some rocks on this in a different colour? Or do I just leave it all grey and let the snow do the talking?
Do you know what? If you watch everybody who paints that sort of terrain, you probably should pick out stones in different shades of grey. Everybody does it on that sort of stone construction stuff. Whether it's Storycraft Society or Black Magic Craft. So in answer to your question, you probably should.
Fuck it, I've missed a roof tile. Well, my jeans are getting a nice wet patch tonight, because that's where I dry my brush.
It's not that exciting, is it, doing terrain?
No, it's not quite boys in Mablethorpe excitement levels, mate. Sorry about that. To be fair, I think that made your weekend as well, didn't it?
I was absolutely blown away. I mean, to get like a little discount store like Boys with a fucking Vallejo paint range like that, it's smash it out the park. Can't say no.
Well, the other thing is, as well, it's relatively local for me. So it's like, oh, well, I'll just go buy the entire set for you at some point then, shall I, Paul?
Well, I mean, they're so much cheaper than buying them on Amazon or anywhere else, then yeah, I think I probably will be bunging you a few quid and you can send me a care package every now and then. Because I really do want to build my Vallejo model colour collection up. I want to go for the whole range.
Next question for you.
Yeah.
While I'm on, I need to pick out some stones and stuff. There's some windows, and they have some, obviously, like, barring or glass details. See that shit?
Yeah, I've got them on the one I did. Yep.
Do I paint them a different colour, or what do I do?
I painted them the same timber colour as the window frames. I mean,
well, I haven't even painted. I don't think I've even painted the window frames yet. I'm busy painting and base coating.
So, I mean,
different bits of detail.
If it were leading in glass, it would be obviously black or near black.
Or like a oily steel.
But
oily steel with a wash on it.
Yeah, but it depends really how much work you want to do, doesn't it? Really.
Well, I mean, this is technically also a lighthouse in Frostgrave, so.
Is it actually the lighthouse window at the top?
No, it's the lighthouse from Printable Scenery, just the ruined version, so.
Okay.
Fuck.
Fuck.
Oh, dear. To be fair, I'm actually probably glad that I did get that grey wrong, because then I can go back in and touch up where I'm overspilling with the fucking Steel Legion drab and stuff. Because I am, at the moment, just speed painting. Because this is fucking terrain. And it's already taken me 2 club sessions to do to get to this stage. So,
as in too long?
I wouldn't say too long, just longer than I probably would have liked. Why have I still got... I must have not put a fucking ball bearing in one of my paints. Wonderful. So I've got no idea which one it is.
I hate it when I do that.
Because I got out the literal perfect amount. So I have no fucking idea. Yeah. Right. Let's slap some of this fucking watery as fuck Steel Legion drab around the door. Because it was one of the very first ones that I fucking transferred, and I hadn't mastered the technique. So... And I missed them, so they're going to get a... Stone grey. You know that sort of creamy grey, stony colour?
Yep.
Too light to pick out a couple of rocks on here?
No. I mean, for your accent colour, I wouldn't worry about it, whether it's too light or not. And to be fair, don't feel obliged to stick to a grey.
Well, no, that's why I was thinking stone grey, because it's like that browny...
Beigey, yeah.
Browny grey colour, isn't it? It's not a...
I mean,
standard.
The more adrift from your base colour that is, the more impactful it'll be. Particularly if you're doing a slush down, are you doing a wash down step?
Yeah.
Where you just battle it.
I haven't quite decided what wash colour it's getting yet, but it's getting a wash.
It's getting something yet. I'm going to stop picking at those because they've already annoyed me and they're not going to get any better with further attention.
Because the other thing is, these...
Tell you what, I might
unlike on your building where the wooden... where they have like wooden frames, these are on like a... These have got very distinct like brick window frames and stuff, so...
Oh, right. So they haven't got wood even in the frame?
No. No, they're very...
You might be better going for a metal look to your windows then.
That's what I'm just thinking myself. The other thing is I missed a fucking... It's like we said last... Oh, fuck, I've just over fucking wooded palette, but hey, it's like we said last week about whilst 3D printing terrain is beautiful, there just might be a few too many details.
I think so. I think you've got to choose your 3D models with caution.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you only have to look at this one and the fact that there's a fucking ladder up the outside of the building and it's half destroyed and everything else, and it's just like, okay. Oh, did you see the new Norse team today?
No.
It looks gorgeous from GW. But then, to be fair, most of their fucking Blood Bowl teams are to die for.
Yeah, the new sculpts are pretty cool. I must confess, there aren't many areas where I think they're not really putting a foot wrong at the minute, but Blood Bowl is one of them.
The other thing is, they seem to calm the fuck down with Spike magazine.
Well, they did. They released an omnibus thing, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did.
that sort of hard reset everything, and maybe they thought after that, let's just leave it alone for a bit. I mean,
What, GW? Hard reset a product and leave it the fuck alone?
Well, yeah, I know. Get with the program, Paul. Do you know what? I think we might retire this cheap synthetic and get a new one, because it's getting a bit hook-nosed in its old age. Just move my light, everybody.
Perfect for dry brushing afterwards.
Let's have a new one.
Because it cost you the grand total of like 12p.
Yeah, exactly. Goodbye. Do I even want to keep you for dry brushing now? Fucker, don't. Goodbye. You're gone.
Basing?
Close the door on your way.
Basing?
Yeah, that's fine, mate. I got thousands of bloody brushes. Can't keep them all. Can't give them all a home. Close the door on your way out. Thank you. Right.
Right. Verdict so far from Art Studio size 6. I've already split the tip.
Oh.
If that'll fucking focus. There
Yeah,
we go.
I can just about see it drifting in and out. There you go, yeah.
So I've already split the tip.
Is that not going back in?
No, I've not tried to put it back in at the moment.
And these are the ones from the range, yeah?
Yeah, these are the ones from the range. I mean, again, it's terrain that I'm currently doing. I'm not necessarily being the most fucking, what's the word, gentle with my brush application, paint application.
You're not being subtle. Hello, Dan!
Evening, Dan!
Guten Abend, wie geht's?
Yeah, it's not quite going back in.
That's what she said.
It's a little tough sticking it out.
He's not rising to the bait, Dan.
Fucking child! Fucking child!
Hand over microphone. Yeah, I do apologise to everybody. I will probably be hacking my guts up. I shall try and get a hand over mic, or at least mute it so you don't all have ruptured eardrums tomorrow.
No, you'll just save that shit for me tomorrow night. What are you up to tonight, Dan? Because I saw them fucking wood elves earlier in Discord, and my god, dude, they look beautiful.
Are you I'll let him answer before I start barraging the poor bloke with questions.
What is that knocking sound?
Don't know, is that me?
No, it was my table with my aggressive brush strokes. And Mike was knocking on my light arm because my light arm reaches underneath my mic arm, so it was.
So after shouting and scaring everybody to death, it was you fool.
He's still on them.
Are you planning to get the Norse team, Dan? The new one? Because I know you're a bit of a beast for Blood Bowl, aren't you?
Beast's a fucking understatement, dude. And yes, Dan, by the way, I will try and get you quoted this weekend for that Blood Bowl stuff, mate. Sorry, it's taken me so long. I've had a bit of shit on at the moment.
Amateur.
Fuck it, fuck you, and the horse you rode in on.
Here we go. Here's with the abuse, lot. The customer is always right, mate.
You're not a fucking customer, so you can shut your fucking mouth.
You've had enough money out of me, you cheeky bugger.
No. Aye, but at mates' rates.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's definitely getting the Norse one.
I'll have to go and look at them. I'll have to. I must confess, I do like the team.
I might pull them up on stream in a second, because I've got some DZC to talk about. And while I'm at it, I might as well just pull up the Norse team for you to have a look at.
Yeah,
how's that sound?
Yeah, do it.
Right, bear with me a second. I'm just going to finish off me.
Yes.
Bit of brush work. Come on.
As I say, I'm gutted I don't have any hobby to talk about this week, because I had planned to do my favourite non-tabletop activity, well, non-wargaming activity, correct yourself, Paul, Arkham Horror, living card game. I'd got a new victim, agreed to give it a try, but as I say, disease took the better of me, and that plan knackered. But I was really looking forward to hopefully converting somebody else to play, because although you can play it solo, it is much better as a shared experience.
Have you got much left to go on them Blood Bowl minis, Dan? Or are you nearly there, or... Also, thanks for the tip on shaking out blurry photos. It helped me so much with my DZC stuff that I took at the weekend.
Shaking out? What wizardry is this?
Dan took a blurry photo. Jack jumped in Discord and said, "Oi, it's blurry. Can we get a better one?" And Dan turned around and went, "Just shake it. It'll be fine. It evens it all out."
Oh, I see. Right. I am on the bloody script now. Somebody's being bloody sarcastic. I see. I see how it is. But yeah, how many Blood Bowl teams do you have now, Dan?
Which one? It might be easy to ask him which ones he don't have.
Because
he's got himself a couple of days to tinker with it.
Because I've seen you put up at least 2 fully painted.
Yeah, but don't forget one of them was a commission for a mate.
Oh, that was the Orc one, wasn't it? It was like a paint in favour.
I think it was. I'm unsure about this neutral grey. Let's see how this goes. Fuck's sake. I don't think it's neutral grey.
Oh, God. Somebody save me from hard mode painter melting down. Not that is spoken like a true addict. Not enough. 8 maybe. Okay, Dan. Point made, mate.
Well, the email where he asked me to print some bits off with him, he goes, "These are the things for the best game in the world." In the subject line, which did make my day when I opened the email, because I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, to be fair, as I say, although I don't have a lot of time for the old G's of the W's, Blood Bowl is a game where they haven't really put a foot wrong recently anyway.
Since they updated it.
Well, I'm still not a huge fan of League play for just reasons of winners keep winning, losers keep losing, and it can be a bit of a crushing experience. Particularly if you've not got everybody on the same page in sort of, we are just having fun and nobody really gives a shit, right? But as a pick up and play game, it's just such fun. Such fun in a box.
Do you want to open my stream cam?
I shall do that for you in just a second, sir. If you are ready for it.
I'm ready for it. So we're gonna talk about DZC.
And you show off all the pretty pictures of your not painted terrain.
All the MDF.
Welcome to the city of Brown. Right. Goblin Commission. Dan, am painting. Let me put it on the big camera for you because I won't get it under my mini cam because it's too bloody large. I am painting some of the terrain from Kill Team Octarius. Just because I've now got all 3 Kill Team boxes, Nakmund, Octarius, and the Chalnath. And I just need to get on and get stuff done because I don't want them. I'm already building up a mini backlog. Right, David, I am switching now.
Hang on. Oh. It's definitely not, if that will focus, neutral either.
Well, is neutral too light?
Neutral's too brown.
It's probably London then.
third time a charm. I'm just going to dab some on the bottom. See how it dries, and then we'll go.
Yes, the terrain is beautiful. It has the drawback of detail, wherefore art thou detail not. And it just goes on and on and on.
The other thing I've just realised...
and unfortunately, my obsessive personality doesn't let me just ignore it and move on. I have to keep picking at the damn stuff to get it to look just right, which is my own problem, really.
The other thing I've just realised here.
Yep.
This grey might be a different colour because I airbrushed it. And we've already discussed the fact that airbrushes put down a different colour coat.
Yeah, they can do. Depends on the paint. To be fair, they shouldn't do. Not dramatically.
Yeah, but don't forget it was one heavy airbrush coat.
Oh, okay. You do you then.
Speed and power. Ricky's School of Gaslands, everyone. Right, I'm ready when you are.
You said that 5 minutes ago and then said you weren't. You won't make up your mind, mate.
You were busy dawdling and dicking around painting some fucking little dials, so I had to find some way of being productive while I was waiting for you.
You sir, are live. The public can now see your glorious terrain and game in progress.
So, we had 3 players. 4 foot by 4 foot table.
I must confess,
I don't know if my
amazing.
mouse is showing up very well for everyone on stream, but I had.
You should get one of them little mouse illuminator things.
Yeah,
Windows got a setting that allows you to put it on as. It might even have one
somewhere. So I had this board edge with the railway on. Ricky had this board edge up here. Sort of to my right hand side as you're looking at this picture, the top edge, and then DW had the far side of the board as you look at it here. I can't remember the mission name. It's somewhere buried in the box. It's basically for 3 to 4 players, 3 objectives in large buildings along the center line of the table, as it would be for 2 players. But you add extra ones. So this big tower here with the spycom, that had an objective in. There was one on the far side, which is the triangle building. The Pythagoras Tower in the back corner. And then the bottom half of the spire building, because I never put this building on the table at full height because it looks fucking ridiculous. It's towering over everything. So they all had objectives, and they're all marked by these little, like, 25mm markers. So we've got, if I get my keyboard, we got the view from my table edge, the view still from my table edge, a bit better round. The view from Ricky's table edge with Ricky's my UCM that were lent to Ricky
on loan,
and then the view from DW's table edge. So we had quite a good setup. Threw some scatter down as well in the intersections. So we've got some repurposed other pieces. Other thing I will give TT Combat credit for, not TT Credit Combat for. Brilliant English, David.
Words are hard.
English! These domes are for infinity. They're 28mm scale. They do not look out of place at 10mm TT Combat scale because
they're a TT Combat product as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Same with the barricades. They don't look egregiously out of scale, even though they're for 28mm. So, happy days. So that's the table setup. There we go. So, first turn, David started with flying on his anti-tank on this side of the map. and his anti-air on the right-hand side as you look at this picture. We'd already started kicking shit out of the center objective building, like just pouring fire into it. Ricky went and secured one of the objectives. He hadn't secured it yet, but he'd gone and got himself in the building. Meanwhile, David was just about to fly on his little troop carriers. So David was targeting the oval building and the triangle building. Over on... Oh, we got a picture on my side of the map? My side of the map, I flew my troops in. I landed pretty much in the center of the main intersection on the main road and disgorged both my troops one each way to capture the financiers and the bottom half of this tower. So Ricky was left a little bit with his cock out. But we'll get into that in a minute. So some cool action shots of my stickered up camo job. So first, this is halfway through first turn or tail end of first turn?
Who does digital camo on 15mm models or 10mm models?
I was about to say 10mm, mate.
What sort of psychopath would do such a thing?
Mr. Painting on hard mode over here.
Yep, that's it.
So again, here you can see my Jack George. My troops are in the buildings trying to capture the objectives. Meanwhile, I've pushed my resistance hovercraft up full of AA to start facing off against David's anti-tank and my anti-tank units rolling up the road. I think at this point we'd already put a load of fire in, and considering the building starts on 30, we'd got it down to 22 by the end of the first turn because we were all just putting fire into it. So that was tail end of turn 1, I think. Turn 2. We skip a load here because we go from turn 2 to like turn 3.5. Turn 2, I pushed my anti-aircraft round and started bringing down Ricky's flies because I was scared shitless of David's anti-tank wandering down the street. And then I put both my anti-tanks in hull down against the building. David at this point had captured both objectives and fucked off with them. Ricky had captured his objective and fucked off with it. I'm still searching these buildings for the objectives because it's roll a d6. Add the turn you're on. If you score a 7, you secure it, and I just rolled shit.
We had a lopsided game like that once, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Because wasn't it like turn 6? You'd rolled up. I'd been in the building since turn 1, and you suddenly got the fucker.
Found it straight away. It's like, what?
At this point,
what?
The centre building's down to 5 hull points, and there's an objective in it. So basically, if that building gets brought down, no more objective. Later the next turn, the building got levelled and removed from play. I do need to add some more scatter for this, but at this point, my anti-tank's taken out one of David's anti-tanks. My hovercraft's starting to pull back. My anti-air, unfortunately, is tucked just behind this building. You can't see it in the bottom. My guys have secured the objectives. I think they secured both of them. Yeah, they've secured both of them and are fucking off. Ricky is just holding an intersection, and Ricky has also, at this point, dropped off his bear to hopefully
agitate one's paint.
Surprise missile launcher the back of the anti-air platforms that are over here. David got ridiculously lucky with the reaction fire, brought down one of my flyers in turn 2, literally just on the cusp of 24 inches, which was his range countered, took him out. It was a bit annoying.
Is that the only spike dice event of the game that you can recall?
No, there was a couple. Like, okay. Ricky needed, I think, 4 ups to hit and rolled 6 dice, and all of them were 5s and 6s.
Right. But
to
be fair, it's when those events really stick in your mind, you know. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. It wasn't too spiky like that. David at this point has decided to fly as fast as humanly possible, both his troop carriers down the board towards me. My flyer, I paid the extra points to give it AA, and obviously I've got my AA tucked down here behind the building. Didn't bother reaction firing with them, just shot the shit out of the little Triton over here, near the open area. That detonated in the sky, which then took out the Neptune it was parked next to in the sky. So that was 2 flies for the price of 1. Bang, and the flies are gone. But somehow the troops inside managed to disembark perfectly fine and made their way into this building.
Parachutes, mate. Parachutes.
Yeah, parachutes. Evening, Ricky. We're just talking about DZC, lads.
Evening, Ricky.
The other side of the building, I know this Triton's coming for me, so I just sit it out and wait to reaction fire with my flyer as soon as he tries to cross this gap here on the left-hand side of the board to get the final objective. Because basically at this point, David's got 2, I've got 2, Ricky's got 1. So it's tied in that respect. David then flies. We've got some nice little close-up shots as well. Here we go. Here's the post taking out all the flies picture. So both flies gone, set troops on the ground. Over here, this Triton just flew across the gap and got nuked. And his troops ended up on the ground floor over here. With both of my anti-tanks about to bear down on them and absolutely wreck their day, a hovercraft and some AA. Ricky, at this point, had tried to sneak round the back to get the objective, but unfortunately we ran out of time, so we went to kill points. I had lost over the course of the game 1 flyer, 1 AA hull. That was it. And some troop bases, but not full bases, so I don't think they count towards your points. David had lost both Tritons, his Neptune, 1 of his AAs. Oh, no, 1 of his anti-tanks. So, therefore, by a process of elimination on kill points, I won. It was a rather fun game.
So the objectives didn't play because you got 1 each?
Yeah, we both got 2 each.
Oh, 2 each.
So,
right, got you.
Yeah. The only way I can think around it is there's a game mode or like an alternative mode on it where you can make the center objective worth double.
Yeah.
So make it worth 2.
Okay, so it's a tiebreaker.
Yeah. That London Grey is kind of similar. And that neutral grey is not similar at all. So I'm going to have to get the airbrush out because it's going
to trigger you.
Yeah, it's going to trigger me. So, it would help if I had the airbrush plugged in. What? I unplugged.
So I was thinking as you were talking about that. Obviously, that mission you played is one where there was no onboard deployment. Everybody sort of flew on, yeah.
And the hovercraft was the only thing that started on the board because it has to.
Oh, okay. And I was thinking, it's been a while, so you'll have to remind me. Is that normal? Is that universal for DZC?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because I love that aspect for bolt action. I love that mechanic in bolt action. The way that you move units on with an activation.
Yeah.
That's in a lot of their scenarios. And I couldn't remember if it was in... If it was a universally thing or whether some scenarios mixed it up in DZC. Do you know what I mean?
Some scenarios do mix it up, but they're the exception rather than the rule, is the honest answer. Right. Ricky, I wouldn't say you'd lost the game, mate. You just only got 1 objective. You were playing you. You weren't. I wouldn't say you'd lost, lad.
To be fair, you tied the objectives and then only lost. Oh, did Vicky get 1, but you and David got 2?
Ricky only got 1. Me and David got 2. Yeah.
Fair. That's the way it goes. So, I mean, to be fair, again, don't beat yourself up. It was only your first game, wasn't it? Jesus.
Yeah, it was only his first game. So Ricky has kind of decided on a faction.
Yeah, so I think you were quite impressed with the Shaltari, Ricky, weren't you? But David said you're going to try Scourge as well, just to see. Is that right?
Yeah, he wants the aliens for colour shift.
Yeah.
Because he's doing what I'm doing.
I shall show mine off at some point. But I did exactly the same. Colour shift the Scourge. They just absolutely scream, do it.
Colour shift. Yeah. Oh, interesting thing, Ricky, because I had a read on the back of my colour shift paints. They recommend spraying them at 10 to 15 psi, which is way lower than I usually spray at.
Ooh. That's interesting. I wonder if that's the same for the Green Stuff World ones.
That's what I was thinking.
We should check. I never thought to check it, to be fair. Ah.
There we go. Right, okay. Let's see how this goes, shall we?
Can we identify the grey?
No, it's a different shade of grey that's going on, so I've got no idea what it is.
Could it have been a GW one?
No, it wouldn't have been GW1. I definitely know it was Vallejo. It's fine. To be fair, I'm just putting some. If my paintbrush will actually fucking work, I'm just putting some variation in as well, really, with this, so it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean?
Pardon me, everyone.
I just want to touch up where the paint has obviously. Stop it, you piece of shit needle. That's kind of working. Excuse me? Why am I having trouble with you tonight? There we go, we're working now.
So,
sorry for everyone on stream for only seeing the top of my head because I'm paying attention to where I'm spraying.
Anything that caught your eye in the gaming news this week, mate?
No, the only thing that has is, as we've already discussed, Blood on the Water tomorrow.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
New rules they've said today.
Yeah, because they've got zip lines and that, haven't they? So they're releasing new terrain, so I'm guessing it's rules for all that, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be quite cool, actually. I was thinking about Carnivale today. Need to drop some money on that when I get a chance.
Well, as I say, I think tomorrow on my lunch break, may well be buying some Carnivale.
So, what did I say? Something that isn't exactly a hot topic for this week. It was more hot last week, but I forgot to mention it. But it's something I was really like the look of. Is the new Firefight game that's coming out from Mantic. So it's like Mantic have got Dead Zone, which is sort of like Kill Teamy, you know.
Yeah.
10 to 15 models, small 2x2 mat, I think it is. then they've got Firefight, which I think they're sort of saying is their 40k level equivalent game. And then they've got Warpath, which I've heard people describe as their equivalent to Apocalypse, as in stupidly big battles. But they've absolutely, if I switch over to...
yeah, because you don't need to display my screen anymore.
If I switch over to my screen, then I want this one here. So this is the stuff that's coming out for Firefight, and it looks, I think, fucking amazing. You've got a 2-player starter set is your sort of like core product, which is £110.
Did they kickstart it?
I don't think they did, but I could be corrected on that. But they've got so you've got Marauders and the Enforcers in this starter set. They've got I think they've got about 8 factions. 4, 5, 6, 7 factions.
Shit.
So,
I just had a fight with some paint and the paint won.
So yeah, you've got the 2-player starter set, which is £110. But the best thing I think is basically you get, for all of the factions in the game, they're doing these Strike Force box sets, which have got great selections of models for 90 quid, and it's basically 90 quid, here's an army, you're done. Expand upon it if you want, but if this is all you want, this is all you need, sort of thing.
Yeah, I just had a fight with some paint and the paint won.
I mean, and they've got, I love, anybody else miss squats, or is it just me? Because here we go, we've got squats, or Forge Fathers as they call them, which they're just, I think these are banging. Maybe not to everybody's taste, but I think these are amazing little models. They've got such a cool aesthetic that's totally unique. Look at those things with their flat heads. So cool. And the tanks are amazing. I love the design on those. Bloody little great big cheese wedge things. And the other faction that I think is great and really unique is the Vermin, which are basically the Skaven in space.
Yeah, I'll admit the Vermin are cool, because again, I'm building some Dead Zone at the minute.
I mean, the vehicles are amazing. These obviously Rat Ogre rip-offs with massive futuristic hand drills, and I love the way that they've sort of like gone with the tunnel and underground theme and given everything drills, and their vehicles have got termite, like burrowing vehicle looks. This is obviously a bit of a rip-off of the old GW Doom wheel for the Fantasy Skaven, these mono-wheel bike things, but they just look cool as hell. Absolutely cool as hell. There's the termite tunneler. They're just bloody great. I think that's such a cool army. But I mean, even their more bog standard stuff is okay. It's really good. I love the design aesthetic, most of it. The orcs are a bit weird. They're marauders, they call them in their universe. but they've got a bit of a mixture of styles. They're not as cartoony as the Games Workshop stuff, and you can see in this picture the flyer is very reminiscent of like a Valkyrie or something like that from GW, just a little bit more chubby and compact. But I prefer the look of these guys, to be honest, to the GW. They're a bit less comedically proportioned. They've got a great design aesthetic to a lot of their models. These super powered battlesuit things are insane.
Right.
But yeah, I hope this game's a success, and I'll be honest, I think it's almost a certainty I'm going to be buying at least one faction box for it. The rules...
You know what you need? Some Veermin.
Do you know, I've already got a box of Forge Fathers, so to be honest, it will be Veermin, I imagine. As you can see here, the actual playtest rules, the version 2 playtest rules, are here for download if anyone wants to give it a try. I think they're free of charge. So I haven't had the opportunity yet, but if I could rope somebody in, I probably would, to give that a go. Because I love Mantic. I don't think I've played a Mantic game and thought, that was a bit crap. Dead Zone first edition.
You're a liar.
Go on.
You're a liar.
Remind me.
Kings of War, not Kings of War.
I was going to say definitely not Kings of War.
Dungeon Saga.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because we don't know where it is or where it lies or what it is.
I'll caveat that. I haven't played a Mantic game that's not a board game and thought, it's not a bit crap. The only one that was a bit iffy was Dead Zone version 1. And the only reason I felt that it was a bit iffy was that I think it had serious balance issues with the way it was designed. I remember my first few playthroughs of it, I was thinking, well, just certain strategies are not going to work here. This game's got intrinsic problems. But they absolutely overhauled it for version 2, and it's now on 3rd edition, and I think it just keeps getting stronger and stronger with each iteration. So yeah, that was something that I really caught my eye. Now you mentioned this, which was what I had up before. This is Ash Barker from Guerrilla Miniature Games. He's just launched another game, hasn't he?
Actually, yeah, that was some... because I haven't looked at any of it yet. I will admit that. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it covered with... on tabletop.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually...
I'll be honest, I completely missed the fact that OTT covered this. That's me being Captain Observer.
Well, I think it only got published today or whatever.
Was it just a news article, or did they do a video or something?
I don't honestly know. I just saw on tabletop had something about Ash Barker's new Firefight game, and the fact that it was available at Depticon, etc. So it's probably just a news article.
Yeah, it's probably just Ben put something through on the feed. I watched Ash put up a Let's Play a few days ago, and I watched that.
I saw that come up as well, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I didn't follow 100% what was going on because I haven't studied the rules, and I didn't, because he did a video before where he did a much slower paced, let me show you how the mechanics work, a bit of a game development thing, but I didn't watch that. I just went straight into this full bat rep. But they were just running 3 mechs aside. It looked like there was a fair bit of strategy and tactics to play with positioning and terrain, and the game seemed quite fluid. I mean, Ash got one of his walkers taken out really quickly in the beginning because his opponent basically fenced him in with minefield so he couldn't move out of his corner deployment, and then just shot the crap out of him.
Shit out of him. Yeah.
But despite that, Ash was able to use the train smartly to pull it back and win in the end. And it seemed quite a good game. Very simple mechanic, very quick. The models look quite cool. I'm not a massive fan of the MechWarrior style games in general. I've never played BattleTech or anything like that. But I do like the look of this.
BattleTech is something that keeps catching my eye. I just haven't got round to...
Do you love this futuristic Walker style game?
Dude, I bought all 5 factions for DZC. Does that not tell you?
Yeah, okay.
It's like asking the Pope if he's Catholic.
Yeah, fair. So where were we? Yeah, so yeah, I mean, look at these shots. These images are brilliant. It does look really
interestingly,
thematic.
I did see that the minis are 3D printed. Because even the ones at Adepticon are 3D printed.
Yeah. Oh, is that going to be standard for the commercial release then?
I don't know.
Okay.
Unless it's done in such a way, because obviously Ash doesn't know if the demand and stuff's there at the moment, so therefore
20 seconds to comply. Anybody who gets that, you're old like me. Although actually the weapons on that look more like it, with its flailing arms. Let's close this. So, because I was looking here, Death Ray, you can get the rulebook PDF for free on not for free, for £10 on $10. Sorry, on Drive-Thru RPG. Paper copy is coming apparently, but they wanted to get the digital version out there. So that's there on Drive-Thru RPG. But Death Ray Designs, they've got the 2-player starter box here, $70. Item will begin shipping March 30th. Now, it doesn't say. I don't know whether these are going to be 3D printed or whether they're going to do some sort of commercial run of it.
I don't know. I just saw that stuff at Adepticon was 3D printed. And again, that's not a criticism, because again, you can get some good quality 3D printing.
You can very much.
One would also argue 3D printing doesn't come with the downsides of fucking certain other companies that cast in resin.
Yeah, I mean, everything's got its pros and cons, hasn't it? I mean, what I thought was cool here is like, so the 2-player starter box gives you 6 mechs, and then it gives you 80 weapon inserts. Now, I'm not exactly sure on the terminology, but when I was looking down here, I think weapons insert, basically for that, just read weapon arm or module or attachment.
Jesus, that's awesome.
So you could, if there's an option you can't build, I'll be fucking shocked, frankly. And in terms of how to do a starter box, this seems pretty much it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just give you everything in the box so you can build anything you want. Get decal sheet in it as well. So it's looks like a polished bit of kit. But again, another great little game.
Ricky is a bad influence on me.
Why?
Ricky's already in chat going, let's do it.
So you're a bit of you like this sort of thing as well, do you, Ricky? Yeah, it is a bit moreish, to be fair. But yeah, those are some of the more exciting things. Here's the video that I watched earlier, Ash's Let's Play Steel Rift. For anybody who wants to go and check it out. Gamma Wolves is his other game, isn't it? Now that's the same. Gamma Wolves is also a mech game. I know he's done a few videos on this, but I don't know an awful lot about it, to be fair. It's flown under my radar. The thing is, it's so difficult because we are absolutely spoiled for choice at the moment in our hobby, aren't we, mate?
Yes.
There has never been a better time, really, to play war games. You've got so many great games coming out all the time from different designers and manufacturers. You know, the small scale production methods mean that little games can get going with their own model ranges or STLs for you to print models if you want.
Right. What time check? 23 minutes past 9, so we've got half hour left on stream. Right, Paul.
Yes, mate.
I think I'm nearly there. I just need my stuff to dry. Right, here's a question for you.
Yes.
Actually, I can probably answer it myself in a second. Brown wash or sepia wash for Frostgrave? Or black wash or sepia wash for Frostgrave?
Well, as we've discussed before, I think the winter look would sell better if you don't use soft earth tones like brown or sepia. I think if you use Nuln Oil, it'll give you a colder, starker look. But that's just I haven't
2 cents.
I haven't done it from experience. I'm just colour theorying in my head that it makes sense that it would probably look better for what we're trying to do.
Right, the other answer is to the Vallejo wash question.
Oh yeah, you bought those, didn't you?
It needs dilution.
Oh right.
Well, I would argue it needs dilution.
Oh okay.
Before I...
So it doesn't say it on the tin, but having used it,
No,
you're
it's
saying hell's teeth. It's a little bit dark.
That's one coat.
Okay. Yeah, but that's on a piece of paper, mate. You might be surprised yourself. Have you got a test mini or something you can put it on?
Nope.
Because
one of the things straight to terrain.
Oh my god. Because one of the things you won't be able to tell from that is how much flow improvers in it and how it sinks to the low points, or whether it sits like a glaze on everything. Really.
Okay, so I will state this. The sepia wash that they do is a weird colour.
Okay.
It's halfway between Seraphim Sepia and Agrax.
Okay.
I'll show you in a second.
So not as dark as Agrax, but not as orange as Sepia.
There you go.
Oh yeah. It's very Sepia, actually. I still think
That's settled it, hasn't it? Black.
I was going to say that I wouldn't be putting that on Frostgrave stuff.
Right.
Just my 2 cents. That isn't a thing I would be doing.
Let's be brave. Come here, Frostgrave terrain. For ye are getting a bath. Actually, I might want the compressor in a minute.
You're going to airbrush it on?
No, to pop the bubbles because I shook the bottle.
Oh,
so it's a
worry.
bit bubbly.
It'll be
bit
fine.
foamy.
Christ, mate, it's terrain. Calm down, dear. It's only a commercial. What's going on in chat?
Just Ricky spamming.
Ricky, game. Jesus Christ. Oh, so Ricky got those Vallejo washers as well, did he?
Well, no, he already bought some. He didn't buy the big bottles.
Oh, so he's got small Vallejo washers. I don't have any Vallejo washers. Actually, I lie.
What?
I have this, which
I
is
have the black
one
and
of
the
the oiled earth wash, which has got loads of junk in it. It's more of a effect rather than a true wash, I would argue, but that's me. So, have we put it on naked?
Yeah, we're putting it on naked.
And
Well, hang on.
Don't keep us in suspenders.
I'm just slapping at the minute. Let me get some on the outside.
Oh, what were you doing? Washing the interior parts first, just in case it was a disaster.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Not a bad plan, to be fair, as plans go.
Now,
for anybody who's thinking, Christ, Paul, that looks a bit insanely poppy, I am intending to drown this thing in black wash, which will take the edge off this nicely. Oh, you can't see it now because it's massively overexposed, but orky face.
right. There we go, Paul.
Yeah, you see, that's not bad. That doesn't need watering down. Fool of a tuck. How is it for tinting everything?
It's tinting everything.
So it's not settling too deep into the recesses and leaving everything in.
It is settling. It's just a little foamy. Like I say, I'm going to get the airbrush out. Just to give it a dust. Yeah, it's tinting. It's kind of settling into recesses.
So you are getting contrast, but you are also getting some modification of the surface colour everywhere.
Yeah, which is kind of what I want for this anyway. Because it's darkening it all up, do you know what I mean?
You felt you'd gone a little bit high, didn't you, with your initial attack? So.
And the other thing is, dry brushing has a multitude of sins.
Yeah, it does, to be fair. And it's only terrain, for Christ's sake. Calm down, dear.
Settling into the recesses. Shit, you know what I didn't do before I started slapping wash all over this?
What?
Paint the rocks different colours like I said about.
Oh, you twat.
Well! That ship has sailed!
Yeah. For the next one, your next project
To be
will
fair,
be along in a minute.
I don't necessarily know that's a bad thing. Because again, the other thing was I did want to slap this on while on stream.
Yeah, there you go. You see, call it a win. Rescued.
Yeah. What's a rescue?
You've turned a disaster into a victory. Hurrah!
Fucking first time for everything.
Plus the fact, again, you're going to snow effect the ball bag out of it anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, which reminds me, actually, I need to order some snow from Serious Play.
So do I. So many things to spend our little dollars on.
I'm going to go do that in a minute, I think. No, again, for £8 for 200 mil. I'm certainly not going to complain at the price of it. Do you know what I mean?
And you would definitely say it's worth me getting it?
Definitely. Because again, it's like I said to you when we were discussing this the other night. It's all well and good making up your own terrain wash.
Yep.
But it's the fact that you've got to make it up.
Yeah.
This is take the lid off a bottle. It's the same on the entire terrain set.
Yeah, that is true. No batch variation.
It's like you with your soft tone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And to be fair, I know everybody's like, yeah, well, you could make 200 ml for 10 pence if you make your own out of cheap craft paint and dish soap. Yeah, you can, but do you want to?
Well, it's
Even for terrain?
It's that time thing, isn't it? Time is money.
And again, maybe consistency doesn't matter with painting terrain in the same way. In fact, consistency can be a bad thing, because you want variation. Otherwise, everything looks too uniform, and then it doesn't look very realistic, does it? It can be argued any which way, I guess.
Again, depends on the consumer, doesn't it?
Yeah. You pay your money, you take your choice.
No, I'm a little disappointed in the sepia. Because it is a very weird...
Yeah, you haven't got it on a model yet, though. Calm your horses, you know.
Now,
maybe,
the problem
maybe
is...
you should swatch some Agrax and Seraphim next to it.
True.
On that piece of paper. Just check it out, see how it dries.
Well, from as it looks currently, it's very orange.
Yeah, it did look it, to be fair, when you held it up.
Right. Make sure I've got every single recess on this motherfucker.
For anybody painting orc terrain, I can't remember the guy's name, and it's criminal that I can't, but I'm afraid I binge too much YouTube to remember everything. But one guy was speed painting this stuff from Octarius, and he made a very good point of saying, when you're doing obviously orky bits, like these riveted heads, don't worry about covering your brush strokes and getting your paint consistent and etc., because it just adds to the orkiness of it. You know, the orcs wouldn't paint with any attention to detail. They'd paint outside the lines and, you know, with a slapdash manner, and it just adds to the overall orkiness of it. And he made a very good point, I felt.
Yeah, so you binge even more YouTube than I do.
And his stuff did look very good. and he painted it in hardly any time at all.
Right, that is piece number 1, all washed and ready to dry.
Yeah, you see, that still doesn't look overly dark to me. I suppose actually we've got to caveat that because you and I run under very bright light for the stream for painting, so things often can look artificially intense. Are you happy with it? Because I know you wanted it to kill the colour right down.
I'm definitely happy with it. Because it has killed the colour more. The only... I don't know if it's just me or just this wash brush, but it just gets a bit foamy in the recesses.
Right, so the bubbling is a problem.
Yes, or at least I think it is. I'm going to switch brushes, actually.
Just a stupid question. When the bubbles are drying, are you getting that sort of like honeycomb spatter pattern where the bubbles dry and leave a rim? Or are you just panicking because there's bubbles there?
I'm just panicking because there's bubbles.
Well, why don't you just let them dry in an area that's a bit recessed or out of sight and just see what happens?
Because I've committed to putting fucking wash all over it now, so...
And that matters how?
Okay, so I've got slightly more control with this and getting it into the recesses, but then I'm going to get...
What do you mean?
I've gone for a smaller flat brush.
Oh, okay. So you've changed attack.
I've changed attack. And I can get it in... I think part and parcel of it is the texture of this 3D print, though.
Okay.
Because the depth of some of the recesses...
Right. You think that's giving it a hard job?
Yeah. But it does mean it will catch all of the details gorgeously after. Yeah, because even just that. And the other thing is, I think I'm letting my... Because I'm not necessarily going too heavy with it to make it black. I'm just stippling it into... And again, I'm trying to get some variants on it. I'll tell you the other thing that might be quite interesting, actually, thinking about it. While this is wet, in certain areas, going in with that sepia, like I do on them bases. You know, when I do the stone effect bases with the Drakenhof Nightshade and the Athonian Camo Shade.
Yeah. So let the washes blend and smudge together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
And do their own jam.
Do you think you could airbrush it?
Possibly. Possibly. Whether it'd get the...
I don't think it would
Whether
work.
it'd settle in the details enough, I'm not sure.
If you're putting it on with an airbrush, it'll just glaze. It shouldn't go thick enough to settle or split. I'd be shocked if it did.
Well, I know you've got a shit ton of Frostgrave terrain to paint.
But sometimes, you know, washes can behave quite interesting through an airbrush, can't they?
Yes.
A little bit different. Ricky, that's what she said.
In reference to what?
I think that was probably when you went about inserting. Oh, tell you what.
Yeah, it's definitely the texture of the print because I've just gone over the ladder and just got a shit ton of foam everywhere.
Even though it had all settled out.
well, just brushing out on brand new brush full of wash.
Right.
Going over the texture just made it. I mean, again, it might be because again, I was having issues with the flat brush earlier when I was doing the roof, wasn't I, of bubbly?
Yep.
So it could just be this particular print and the fucking aggressive texture on it.
Can't you dab it more?
I have kind of changed tack, and I'm stippling, aggressively poking. Let's call it that.
Yeah, that is what she said.
Right, so I'm absolutely slathered in wash, but
You are, or the model is.
I'm getting it on my fingertips at the moment.
Okay, well that could have gone better.
Well, again, you've got one of these to paint anyway, so I shall giggle when you do yours. But again, it's the holding the model while trying to get the wash all the way round it. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, yeah, it is a messy job.
Well, again,
it's one of the things that bugs me about painting terrain. I've realised as I'm sitting here wobbling this, flipping kill team piece around is, God, it's a ball ache to paint. Just constantly turning it, tilting it, rotating it, handling it. You can't put it on a fucking paint.
Yeah, well, again, that's the thing that that's the reason I had to go in with the airbrush again, was because I'd handled this piece and obviously I've played a couple of games with it. And because it's not sealed, it was like, yeah, no, I can fuck off, because again, it was just airbrushed on. So,
you think that's what changed the tone of the grey?
Well, in places, yeah.
Yeah, right. That's fair.
Right, let's try and get this on top of that without fucking making a mess of it.
Right.
You... Get on, you whore! There we go.
Fucking hell. Listen to him. Oh! Like some
right, I'm just
fucking ranting Victorian psychopath.
Dip my hands in some painting water and clean them off.
Jack the Ripper goes hobby.
I ain't got a knife at the moment.
Unusual for a prick like you.
Wow.
Shots fired.
Okay, that wash tastes like assholes, because never lick your brushes after having washed.
What, personally? We need a bigger brush. Need more.
I'm just gonna... I'm happy enough with that if it's a little messy.
That's what she said.
Ricky's like, mine worked on fine miniatures, not terrain. I'm like, well...
Yeah, well, there you go, Ricky, you see? It's a poor workman blames his tools. Just saying.
Oh, shut your fucking trap. You're a sorry record. Right, actually, point. We've not spoken about things that we said we was going to speak about last night, which was AOS.
Oh, do we have to? Yes, I don't know if anybody else
do, because we mentioned
it. You've got the link. Oh, I'll queue it up.
No, I haven't got the link, and I'm also not live on screen, so... Oh, go fuck yourself, you ginger prick.
Right, public service announcement. The sodium chloride levels may get high. Okay, so just warning everyone.
I might go get some salt, actually, so I can start shaking it over the camera.
That's probably not a bad idea.
Discourse miniatures.
Yes, there's a couple of YouTube videos that I just bear me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me put you back to the picture of us just talk amongst yourselves, because obviously I have an old man brain and didn't queue these links up, which I probably should have done. Da, da,
Right, let's retrieve some from over there. Right.
Da, da, da.
I am happy with that, I think. So actually, I'm gonna move my light and I'm gonna dim this down a little bit for not turn it off. Dim it down a bit. So this is under daylight, and obviously the wash is still wet for people at home. But fuck it, you're coming on a trip with me, people. Here we go. We've gone landscape this time. What do we reckon to that? I know it's still wet, and you can't necessarily see it, but I'm reckoning for a start of Frostgrave terrain to do some dry brushing and some other things, that is pretty darn sweet. Now you can come back and have my pretty face.
So, not that one.
Oh,
what would you do if you could be
I'm
normal?
getting a drink. I've got a dessert on the table that I haven't eaten since earlier. Right, feedback so far from using a 1-inch Boldmere wash brush. It's all right. It's not amazing. Coverage is good though for getting it across on terrain. It is still holding on to wash though, and I've washed it about 4 times. So I'm currently trying to slap it out. But again, cheap synthetic. Who gives a fuck if it goes a bit stiff? I will.
Who cares if it goes a bit stiff?
Did you just get a that's what? Yeah. Did you just do a that's what she's?
If they didn't do it, mate, it was definitely well deserved. Right. Okay. So, I'm finally ready. Now you've finished entertaining everybody. So, the brush before we move on, in summary, the brush had a bit of staining, but it performed adequately for its basic job. Has that top still split away?
What top?
The brush you said you'd split out. The gold one.
Yeah, it's still split.
It's still split. Okay, so the point is knackered. Okay, fine. So.
Well, no. If I took that, because it's about 4 bristles.
Oh yeah. So you could just
bristles down the side. I can always just trim it out because again, it's sort of halfway along the. It's not at the tip. It's sort of. It's where it goes from the black to the orange on these brushes.
Right. The sort of shade change of the bristles.
Yeah, let me move my light, and then you might see that.
It's much clearer. But they were pence, weren't they? So.
Yeah, they were. They weren't. Again, I'm using them on terrain for that very reason. That's the reason why I went out and bought them, because I knew I'd got this terrain to paint, both this stuff and some MDF stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to go buy some cheap-ass brushes that Luke recommends at Luke's APS, and we'll see where we go.
Thing is, with the cheap stuff, you can't go wrong, because even if it's rubbish, as long as you get a few hours out of it, they soon pay for themselves, don't they?
Yeah, and I've just realised that I've missed a bit. Let's go retrieve some wash.
That's my
sort
job!
I've fixed it.
Here we go, everybody. Salt incoming. So, I know she's a divisive figure, but I quite like Discourse's videos. Discuss.
Is that because you're a salty motherfucker that doesn't quite like GW?
Yeah, probably is that I am a salty bastard who's got a bit of an axe to grind with the G-dubs. But then again, I'm only bitter because I've grown up with the stuff, and I'm gutted what they've done with the hobby that I've bloody loved for years. So essentially, this video is about one thing, and it's this thing here, this battle scroll, The Hunt, which there was a Warhammer community article about. And Discourse does a really good job of highlighting what utter fucking madness this whole thing is in terms of game design philosophy and how to fix a broken meta. The gist of it, the too long didn't read version is they've launched this battle scroll that's, I think, pitched at competitive AOS. Certain units in each Grand Alliance gain the priority target keyword, and certain other units gain the prime hunters keyword. The gist of it is anything that's given the priority target is considered to be undercosted, overpowered, and they're just seeing too much of it in competitive AOS. Prime hunters are the opposite. Overcosted, inefficient units that people don't bring a lot of. And the idea is if you kill an enemy's priority target model and you didn't use a priority target model yourself, you score extra VP and it enhances your win condition. You score even more points if you can use your Gloomspite Gits to bring down their Greater Demon of Khorne.
Or Mega Boss on a Maw Crusher.
Yeah,
Death
exactly.
Cabbage.
Yeah, so use Gloomspite Gits to bring down a Death Cabbage. You get loads of extra points. And she just makes...
you don't get a load of extra points though, because that's what she was saying. You get an extra point.
You would get, I think, 4 or 3. But
yeah, you get some, and then if you use Gloomspite Gits instead, you get an extra one instead of what you would if you just used
I think it's
something
2.
that was actually more suitable for the task.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Her argument is this is not the way to balance games. The point is I can't beat these strong units with the weak units. Giving me more points for achieving the unfucking achievable doesn't make the unachievable any more achievable, you dolt. And
let's draw an owl. Here's 2 circles. Here's the finished owl.
Yeah, sort of like 2 circles and fully watercolored, finished out. Piss off. She puts it really well. The video's only 10 minutes. She's acerbic as fuck, but to be honest, she's bang on the money. This is fucking bonkers. And buried in the small print of the Warhammer community article is the salt in the open wound, which is the only reason they've done this is because they didn't want to fuck with all the points values of the things on this battle scroll, because that would wreck all of the books that they've got in the publishing line that then have redundant points in them.
Yeah.
So, again, it's a sticking plaster fix for a problem that's created by them constantly spewing books out like some fucking demon-possessed librarian out of Ghostbusters.
I think the other point to make here as well is GW recently have moved where they're printing the books, haven't they? They're
China.
no longer
everything's China.
They're no longer printed in the UK. They're now printed in China.
I think they even cook. I think they even cook the staff lunches in China.
So they're now on a slow boat here. So typically 4 to 6 weeks from leaving China, it will arrive in the UK. And obviously there's a production queue for stuff going together. So probably whatever's releasing in a month's time has already been done for 6 months and been at the printers and everything else for obviously distribution and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's not even salt in the open wound. It's fucking bleach, mate. Let's be brutally honest. We won't fix the game and we won't fix the balance that needs to be addressed in the room. We will, because points will fuck everything up in the corporate aspect of GW. It is like, oh, well, we'll just... It's like using a mop to stop a dam breaking.
Yeah.
It's not really working, but somebody's at least making an effort to try.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, she does say that in all likelihood, all of the people who do the game design work are like, this is not the way to do it. But like David's just said, the suits are there. Well, it may not be the way to do it, but it's the way we're going to do it. Because what we're not going to do is jeopardise sales of line X and Y and Z. Because we've already had one debacle with the fucking...
Curse City.
No, the bloody Codex. The
the
Girls in Gold, whatever the hell they were called.
Custodes.
Yeah, that's them.
The Custodes Codex is released, and it's already out of date.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So they've already had that debacle once in the last 12-month period. They fancy probably not revisiting that with their other flagship game in such a short period of time. And I'm sure that's fueled what's going on. The other piece of YouTube quality that I saw the other day, and again, this isn't me being particularly new, July 2021, everybody. Paul's slow on the uptake. But everybody will probably recognise this guy. Midwinter's an absolute colossus of 40k on YouTube. And the majority of this video is what it is. You can have your view on it. He's basically going on about James M. Hewitt, one of the guys who used to work for GW and is now designing independent games, puts details of his salary up on some Reddit posts, and then it sort of started this whole online conversation about GW pay their staff peanuts. And he had experience, Midwinter had experience in the music industry, music retail industry, and he again had the same thing. Him and his people were paid fucking pennies for doing a decent job, he felt, and they should have been better rewarded. And he just basically says to Games Workshop, look, play fair, give people decent wages, and, stop treating the people who design your games like the people who clean your toilets and wash your floors. If there's no skill involved and they don't need to be rewarded, is that explaining the state of the game, sort of thing? And he then goes, but the thing that really piqued my interest was towards the end of the video. He basically says, he is a huge 40k YouTuber, but he says it's even making him think, should I start covering other games? And I waded straight into the comments and said, yeah, do. Because aside from Games Workshop maybe deserving a good kicking, which I'm not saying they don't, but this guy could do so much good to draw just a little bit of spotlight on so many games that just deserve a bigger slice, I feel, of the pie, the industry pie. And I know Games Workshop no business wants to give up market share. I totally get it. It's a business thing, but I don't work for Games Workshop, but I do play a lot of games that are not Games Workshop that are fantastic games. And if a guy like this can just put a little bit of his, weight behind some of these other products, oh God, can you imagine the good that could be achieved?
Well, again, we only have to look at probably one of both of our favourite YouTubers, Ash Barker.
Yeah.
GMG. For those not in the know, the fact that he does
Guerrilla Miniature Games, if you're searching for him on YouTube.
The fact that he covers everything and he has a rotating schedule as well. And at the moment, I know he's doing a lot of the throwback GW, which is obviously taking you on a fucking massive nostalgia trip because you're old.
Yep.
But again, even like Infinity, Frostgrave, Gaslands, all the stuff that he's covered. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Ash is far from being a GW hater. He isn't, I think, particularly enamoured with the new edition of 40k, and he's said as much. He hasn't spent a lot of time updating his armies for, I think, even 8th or 9th. I don't think he did much. I mean, he has had bat reps, I think, for the new 40k, but he does it out of spirit of even-handedness. But he's first and foremost a champion of the independent game, the small game, the game that's lurking there under the carpet that you didn't hear about, but is actually a buried treasure. And that's sort of his mission statement. He's a bloke I've got a lot of time for, to be fair. And I don't begrudge him enjoying GW. I mean, I know he worked for them for many years, and he just enjoys their products for what they are. He's, I think he's said before that, Games Workshop games are an experience, and they're a particular type of game. You either like it or you don't.
It's Marmite.
Yeah. And to be fair, a lot of gaming in general is like that. I'm sure we can all think of role-playing games that we didn't really take to, board games that we thought, I don't really care if I never play that again. But there'll be other examples where we thought, oh god, that game was absolutely killer. And why would miniature war games be any different, frankly? So yeah, that's just 2 videos that I thought were worth mentioning, really. Have I missed anything, David? Anything I haven't said?
No, I mean, the only thing I've been on this week myself on the old YouTubes, I think it's RFD Hobbies. He's an Australian guy.
You told me about that, but then I don't think you sent me a link, did you?
I did. I sent you 2.
Oh, well, yeah, you did actually. I shall look at them later. RFD Hobbies, anyway, tell everyone.
So he's got a lot of customs, a lot of scratch builds. I was looking at some of the Gaslands and other bits and pieces. I've had a bit of a hobby binge on the background today or this week of just stick a YouTube video on about some terrain and stuff in the background. So that's what I've been doing. So he did a hanger with some like corrugated paper and some balsa wood, I want to say. And it looked awesome. And again, I'm contemplating possibly doing something similar for my Gaslands because I don't really do a lot of scratch built or that kind of thing. I mean, the only scratch built I've got currently sat in the corner of my bedroom actually is some mountains for AOS to match my orcs. They're going to match my Orc basing and go with that set because I don't have a lot of AOS terrain.
Where are you at with those? I remember when you were doing those a few months ago. Are they? What stage are you at with them?
So I've got to bevel the edges of the bases, which is probably actually going to be this weekend's job. Because again, it's one of those jobs that you've got to do outside because it's messy and dusty and MDF, and it's not been the weather until this week. So I'm going to bevel all the edges of the bases, and then probably next week on stream, I'll be slapping on a load of filling compound.
Right, so you're still a long way off painting. You're still in the major sculpting and landscaping zone.
Oh, don't forget though, Paul, the only thing I'm doing on them is painting the rock faces, because I'm using my texture grit.
Oh, yeah, okay.
My Geek Gaming Scenics knockoff, which is up the corner here.
Luke which is proud of you fucking homebrewing it.
Grout and Mablethorpe beach sand.
It's a long way to go for sand, but apparently it's worth it.
Any sand will do.
Oh right, okay, I got the wrong memo then. I thought he'd said only sand from Mablethorpe will do.
Well, I mean, if you're in Mablethorpe and you're getting sand, you might as well nip into that, boys. That's brought us.
Not down the beach.
That's brought us full circle.
Yeah. Full circle. So, getting fined for removing sand from Mablethorpe Beach by the truckload to sell it. Sell it on eBay.
This is not advice. I will caveat with this is not a public service announcement. And with that, it's 10:10.
Yeah, it's time before we go.
Let's have a look what you've got then.
Lock up your wet pallets. I got myself a new bottle.
Oh, I thought you got yourself a new wet pallet.
No. I got myself the wet pallet killer.
How long before that fucker goes all over the other?
Oh, fuck knows, mate.
Have you still got any left in that cunt that you knocked over?
Hardly any. That's why I had to order that bottle.
Well, why don't you throw some sprue in it and then you got a nice bit of plastic gap filler?
Oh, yeah, sprue goo. I could make my very own Vince Venturella sprue goo. Do you know what? That's actually a genius idea.
And you've got a shit ton of sprues because you've just built a load of fucking kill team terrain.
To be fair, I've got enough kill team sprues to probably build myself a second house. So that certainly is not going to be a problem. Well, everyone, I hope you've all enjoyed the last couple of hours, and more importantly, because we don't want you coming here to enjoy yourself, we want you coming here to do some work. Get on with it. So I hope you've been productive. And I apologise for the coughing, hacking, spluttering, sneezing, and God knows what else you've had to put up with. David being mute for 20 minutes, although to be fair, that was probably more of a plus than a minus.
You're a cunt.
Yeah, but I'm the cunt with OBS control, so fuck you!
Yeah, but you forget you're in my Discord, so...
Damn! Right, so, okay, we'll see you guys next week, hopefully, for another stream. See you later.
Feed the YouTube beast, like, share, subscribe, and catch you next week.
One cough.